What's going on, you guys? Frost here, and I'm back with another video. This is gonna be the third part of the patch 6.9 stuff. I'm gonna talk about the major Mage updates and the minor Mage updates here, right here. So just pretty much all the Mage updates. So yeah, let's get right into it. So starting off with Vladimir, looking at this general base stats, just whatever. Gets an ability icons, so that's okay. Gains, it's still the same passive. Blood transfusion. Looks to be still the same thing, only Crimson Rush. After casting Transfusion twice, Vladimir gains Crimson Rush. Once Transfusion comes over, well, the next... Alright, so... I think that's a good addition. The more times you cast Blood Transfusion or Transfusion now, the third hit pretty much will give him a Crimson Rush, give him that extra damage, give him that extra healing. I think this will add a good amount of sustain to Vladimir. Obviously, he already had a lot of sustain, but you do have to keep in mind that they removed the spell vamp from Hextech Gunblade. So he doesn't have that item to go to anymore to get that sustain in. So they pretty much build it into his kit right here. So that's nice. So Sanguine Pool. It's pretty much basic pool damage, whatever. Alright, this is a new one. Update. Ties of Blood. Costs a certain percentage of maximum health. Right, full charge, Vladimir slows. Right, so pretty much this is a charging ability. It lasts for 1 second to 1.5 seconds, it looks like, and you can just charge based upon how long you charge it. It will deal more damage, but it'll also cost you more health. Seems pretty fair. Lots of blood as is right now, or at least the E ability as it was. It's not now because it's already 6.9, but as it was the charging effect. Like you got the 4 stacks, it cost you a bit of health every time you used it or something like that. I mean, this is nice because you don't have to consistently keep using it and keep using it for it to be effective. So it's only, the point is now it has a charge time. So I kind of like that. And Hemoplague, on detonation, Hemoplague. Alright, so just new base. Oh, it heals now. It heals more, it does more damage. Actually, heal rage. No, it pretty much just heals Vladimir now. That's actually necessary because of the fact that, again, they removed the spell vamp from the Hextech revolver. I believe it's called. Yeah, Hextech revolver, right? So Vladimir has less sustain with it. Overall, it's still pretty much the same champion. So Malzar, what is this? Invulnerability, interesting, okay. Void Shift, Malzar skips between the line of dimensions. Takes heavily reduced damage and is immune to count. Oh, that's actually necessary on Malzar, to be fair. Yeah, this is necessary on Malzar because what you used to be able to do was he just pressed ult and then you could just CC him and he was gone. Or his ult was gone, but this appears to be preventing that from happening. That looks interesting. Delay after cast time. Delay is removed. Interesting. Call of the Void. Looks to be still the same, just a few just changed ratios and stuff like that. So yeah. Void Swarm. What is this? This is new. Summoning a Voidling the first time a Voidling attacks a champion. Also spawns a new Voidling with the same. Interesting. This looks to be pretty dumb though, because if you look at this and just think about objectives like Baron and Dragon. So it keeps attacking an epic monster and keeps attacking that epic monster constantly. So this looks to be that you can just spawn like 9, I don't know how many fucking Voidlings when you're hitting Baron. So also the Baron keeps auto-attacking the Voidlings instead of Malzar, for example. So I think that Malzar should be able to solo a Baron with this, to be honest. Jesus, I think this is gonna be really strong for Dragons and Barons and stuff. And since it's gonna be a really focused Dragon meta, I think Malzar will be a good pick because you can just go and quickly do the Dragon in a couple seconds with this Void Swarm passive or Void Swarm thing. Looks to be pretty strong. Right, this is still the alien virus thing, whatever it is. Goes from minion to minion once it kills a minion, etc. It's the same thing. Nether Grasp. Oh, they added the previous W to the R in ability. That's interesting. So now when you ult someone, he instantly gets suppressed, but the void appears under him. That's actually a good addition, because I think that was quite necessary to make Malzar more like a champion that's worth picking, because as it was previous to this patch, he was definitely not worth getting. Alright, looks to be interesting. Cassio. Base movement speed increase seems fine. Has new ability icons, fine. Cassio cannot purchase boots items, interesting. Gains 4 moves. Alright, does look to be that she gets a lot of movement speed. Also, when you hit Q and stuff, you get a lot of movement speed. So not getting boots is not the worst thing in the world. It will kind of cripple you a bit more early game though, because she will not be as mobile, and Cassio really doesn't have that much mobility already. Just some movement speed increases, so yeah. I think it's interesting that you cannot buy any boots on Cassio though. Noxious Blasts looks to do the same thing. Just some added ratios and stuff. Miasma is updated, let me see. Cassiopeia spews venom in the arc in front of her, leaving toxic clouds for a few seconds. Enemies continuously poisoned, slowing and grounding them. Oh, grounding is that they is a new effect this patch, that they can't how do you want to say this? You can't dash when you're grounded. You dash when you're grounded, you're gonna, it was something you're gonna get hit, or you're just not able to do it, or something like that. I'm not really 100% sure anymore, but I believe you are unable to use any type of mobility dashes whilst grounded. That's what I believe. I might have that wrong, because I'm not really sure off the top of my head. Anyway, this looks to be the old Miasma. It's gonna be a much wider cone though, but still looks to be interesting. Twin Fang. Wait, what? Oh wow. Okay. I was looking at this to see what happened to the cooldown, but apparently the base cooldown is now 0.9 seconds. So that's probably gonna be painful on its own, and you don't even have to land poison for this to do damage. I think that's a good addition, but I also think that kind of cripples her kit. However, looking at this AP ratio, this kind of got hit pretty hard. So I don't know. If the target is poisoned, so still, if the target is poisoned, Twin Fang will do a lot more damage. Yeah, it's just gonna be more of a type of thing where you have to get the poison onto the target for this to be actually worth using. Interesting enough, and the ult looks to be the same. Zyra. Let me see what this video is. Interesting. Zyra, seed spawns. Right, size increased. It looks to be like similar to the old Zyra, but overall I think these changes are nice on her. She wasn't really a champion that you would see often. The only time you would see it if a support player likes to play Zyra just to carry games or something like that. Zyra was really good at carrying games as support if you knew how to play her. Overall, I think this is a good change. This might show more like use of Zyra, which is nice. Like it's good that more champions they're trying to make the champions you can actually use viable, more champions viable. I don't know what I'm saying anymore. You get what I mean, I hope. Alright, looks to be interesting. Brand. Right, this looks to be the same. Nothing really has changed here, I think. However, this new passive, Blaze. You drop the bomb on Blaze stacks up to 3 times. I think this is the new passive, right? That's actually pretty interesting. So that means that you can deal a lot more AoE damage in team fights. I actually like that. I think this is a good addition to Brand. He wasn't really a champion that you saw very often. His passive was a bit underwhelming, to be fair. But now it's actually turned out to be a really nice passive, and the rest of his kit got a slight slight changes to it, a bit of values here and there. I mean, yeah. I like this one. I like this change. I think I might give Brand a try. And Vel'Koz. Alright, new race. Now, oh, the passive now scales with AP as well. That's interesting. Does the passive still give you true damage procs every time that scales with AP now? Because if that's the case, then you're gonna get quite some damage out of your passive. Spends 50% of mana cost for each unit killed by plasma. I mean, that seems pretty fair, honestly. Vel'Koz has a lot of mana costs. That was also always kind of a problem with him. So giving that back is pretty nice. First hit. They nerfed the ratios on Void Rift. I'm not sure why they did that, honestly, because this is pretty much a wave clearing skill. It's not like it was that bad before, but this might be the case because they buffed this passive in damage, that this would have been a bit too OP. Because you can pretty much get 2 stacks on everyone that hits this. So you hit it once, you hit it twice. You can also double Void Rift still, I think. So yeah, I think this is a fair change because they gave this the ability power there. Again, I think this is fair because they gave the passive and ability power, so nerfing that is fine. They upped the ability power on the ult, descaling it. No longer applies stacks of... Okay, right. So they gave it more damage. They gave it more damage to compensate for the fact that you don't get procs from your passive anymore. So you have to get passive procs from the rest of your skills now, hence the nerfed ability ratios on it. Seems pretty fair, to be honest. Alright, that were the major Mage update, now the minor ones. Look to be just some value adjusting. What is this? Now expands the radius. Oh, right, okay, so it starts at a smaller radius and expands instead of just being an expanded radius from the start. I like this one. That's a good change, I think. That gives a bit more, like, gives a bit more counterplay to Anivia, I want to say, because if you can just instantly drop your ult and they have no way of doing anything about it, yeah, I think this is a good change. Annie, again, looks to be pretty basic. Gives Tiber's attack ratio, some extra AP, and his command. Tiber's seems to be a pretty basic change, doesn't really affect too much of her kit. Also, I think I read somewhere that... Yeah, here. Now, this is actually useful when playing against Annie, because now you can clearly see her stacks, and you don't really have to look at the stacks in the top left corner. If that is... I think the top left, yeah. So, Fiddlesticks, new passive Dread. Fiddlesticks gains Dread after not moving for... This is a good combination with his ult. So the time you use to channel your ultimate, you'll gain your passive and you'll get more movement speed. So you can use that to get into position with your ult better once you're ulting. I like that change. Complements his kit very well. Damage falls off. Some value adjusting. I think it's pretty fair. Cannon's ult used to be like an instant really strong thing. Adjusted some energy costs. I think this is a good change to Cannon as well. Updated Pain Q. Decrepify. Pain orders. What did they update about this? Fly towards the center of an area for shorter. I'm not sure what Vayne did before, so I don't really know what updated this, but it looks to be a pretty good skill. This is just some cost adjusting. I really cannot remember what the Q ability from Vayne did, or from Swain did before. Either way, I think this looks like a fine skill. This looks like to be the same still, so I don't know if that update on Swain's Q is massive. I don't really play too much Swain. I haven't really played him much at all, to be honest, so I can't tell you much about Swain, to be fair. Alright, Q gets increased AP ratios. You can have more sphere, or I think this is just a substantial damage buff to Syndra. You can have more spheres, so meaning that her ult will do more damage. Looks to be pretty, yeah, interesting. So Vigar. Striking an enemy with an ability grants fight. No longer grants on champion takedowns. So you get extra ability power when you hit enemies with abilities, but you don't get any rewards anymore on champion takedowns. Seems fair enough. Honestly, seems fair enough. And just some mana cost adjusting, looks like. This is mainly to do with the mana sustain items, I think. So I think this mana cost adjusting is fair enough. Wait, no longer reduces the detonation damage by... So it does 100% of the damage twice, pretty much. That's actually interesting. Now Death Ray does a lot more damage. I think it was needed because Victor was kind of falling off because he didn't really do too much. But with these adjusted values and stuff, I think Victor will be a very, very good champion again. He will have better wave clear with his E. Overall more damage. Looks to be nice. I think I might give Victor a shot again. I didn't start to not like him as much anymore because he just did too little for the amount of time you had to invest in farming. But I think this update will actually help him out quite a bit with that. Looks to be interesting. Xerath looks to be just pretty basic. Range increased by 10%. Now zooms out gives Xerath a better view of the battlefield. Same as Jhin ult, I imagine. Number of... Oh wow, you get more ult shots the higher you go. Damage goes up. That's actually nice. You get more chances to hit your ult the higher the rank is. That's actually nice. I like that change, honestly. No longer deals double damage against me. It's our guide. I've been waiting for this one. What Jix used to be able to do was just ult an insane minion wave from halfway across the map, so all the time you invested in slow pushing that wave would just be gone because Jix would just ult it straight up. So having this there to deal less damage will mean he cannot fully clear the wave, I'd imagine. Unless he gets some AP, of course. But I think that's a good change, to be fair. And overall, just some value adjusting. Yeah, I think this is a pretty nice Mage update, honestly. I think I'll mainly look towards Malzardis, because this looks to be very interesting. Mainly this Void Swarm can be really good with the new dragon-based jungling that's gonna come, I think, or that's already here. Because Dragon is gonna do quite a bit, especially if you get the Ocean Dragon, or the Infernal Dragon for that matter. And I'm gonna also look towards Brand, because I think this passive Blaze looks to be very interesting. The use of their kits hasn't really changed that much, so that's something I like. I like that they didn't completely change the champions, but they just slightly tweaked them. I think that's nice. Anyway, guys, if you've enjoyed this video, please remember to hit the like button. If you want to see more videos from me in the future, hit the subscribe button if you haven't already, and I'll see you again in the next one. Bye!